Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. I hope you're all doing well. In today's video, I will be giving you my round 17 NRL tips. Last week in round 16, I managed to get 3 out of 5 correct. Lost the first 2 games and won the last 3. I would have had a perfect round if Penrith won, but they lost by 4 against the Cowboys because both had Origin players out. Both teams. And the Knights lost by 2 points against the Roosters. So, unfortunately, they were the only 2 I got wrong, but nevertheless, let's get into round 17 NRL tipping video. Before we start the round 17 NRL tipping, I'll just give you my quick tip and preview of Game 2 between the Queensland Maroons and the New South Wales Blues. Now, Game 2 is taking place in Queensland territory, where it goes to Suncorp Stadium, where basically about 97% of the crowd will be Queensland supporters and 3% New South Wales. Now, back to Game 1, the Maroons managed to win in Adelaide against the Blues, 26-18. They had one player sent to the bin during the last portion of Game 1, but it went in their favour as they went to score 2 tries to win 26-18. Now, both teams have both made changes. Mostly the New South Wales Blues. Like, Cameron Murray was injured, but surprisingly he's playing. Latrell was named, but he withdrew due to a calf injury. Seems like he's still struggling with it. So Steve Crichton maintains his spot. Matt Burton's in as 18th man. Pangai Jr. has been stood down. And Mitchell, and the biggest one of all, Nathan Cleary, with a hamstring injury, is replaced with Mitchell Moses. Now, it'll be a shock. I'm not going to shit on Mitchell Moses like other people have, but all I've got to say is I will go to Blues to win 1-12 by 4, but I don't think we will win, but it'll be a shock if we do win. Blues to win by 4. Scoreline, I'm going to go 20-16. Let's go to Mighty Blues. The first game to kick off round 17 of the NRL season kicks off on Friday night. The only Friday game at 8 PM is between the St George Illawarra Dragons and the New Zealand Warriors at Wynn Stadium in Wollongong. Both teams are coming off byes. The Warriors and Dragons both having their second bye. And as for the Dragons, last time they played was against my boys, the Bunnies, and they managed to hold on. The Rabbits come back to win 36 points to 30 in entertaining after Saturday afternoon fixture against the Bunnies. And as for the Warriors, they upset the Raiders fans, 36 points to 14, ruined Jared Croker's 300th game back in round 15, winning 36-14. That was a shock, honestly, but good on the Warriors for winning. And Ben Hunt, I don't know if he will be playing this week, the backup from Origin, but I'm not going to get into the drama stuff with the Dragons, as that's not my sort of thing to talk about. But anyway, in the past 10 games between these two, it's been 5 games apiece, with Dragons winning the last 3 out of 5, which includes winning 3 straight. Now, this will be the first time these two have played at Wynn Stadium against each other since 2018, where the Warriors won 18 points to 12, and the last time the Dragons beat the Warriors at Wynn Stadium was back in 2013, where they won 19 points to 10. So it's a 10-year gap since the Dragons have beaten the Warriors at Wynn Stadium. You know, they don't play at Wynn Stadium that much between these two. But who do I see winning this game? Well, with more drama with the Dragons, I'm going to have to back the Warriors. I'm going the Warriors to win 13 plus, to win by 18 points. I'm going to go scoreline 34-16. The first of 3 Super Saturday fixtures, the first one kicking off at 3 PM up there at Sunshine Coast Stadium for the first time ever. The Dolphins will play there against the Parramatta Eels. Now, the Dolphins are coming off their second bye, and the last game they played is they were demolished against the Manly Warringah Sea Eagles at 4 Pines Park, losing 58-18, which is their biggest loss in their short history so far. Unbelievable, honestly. And as for the Parramatta Eels, speaking of Manly, Eels are coming off Eels are coming off a huge smashing against the Sea Eagles, flogging them 34 points to 4, which I was not expecting. They didn't have Mitchell Moses, they didn't have Dylan Brown, but they flogged them. They beat their arch nemesis 34 points to 4. Board fest of a game, but congrats on the Eels on winning, and they are officially in the top 8 for the first time this year. Wow. But anyways, this will be the first time that these two will play each other as well, so there's no history to go off it. As for this game, who I see winning, well, Dolphins are coming off 2 in a row losses, and seems like Eels have finally found some form, but not convincing yet. This game will prove it, but I will back, even though it's back in Queensland for the Dolphins, I will back Para to win this game 1-12. I'm going Para to win by 8. I'll say scoreline of 26-18. The second Saturday fixture, kicking off at 5:30 p.m. at Bluebet Stadium, is between the Penrith Panthers and the Newcastle Knights. The Newcastle Knights are coming off a 2-point loss against the Roosters up there in Newcastle last week, while the Panthers are coming off a 4-point loss in an entertaining game against the North Queensland Cowboys in Townsville last week, with both teams with Origin players out, losing only 27-23 by 4 points. Arguably the best game of the round, honestly, in my opinion, for round 16, sorry. But it was very enjoyable to watch. Now, I'm not sure if Tyson Frizzell will back up for Origin for Newcastle and most of the Panthers players that are playing. I don't know if all of them will back up, most likely, but we'll wait and see what happens from Game 2 on Wednesday. Now, in the past 10 games between these two clubs, Panthers have dominated the Knights, winning 8 of the past 9 games. You throw a draw in there as well, and the Panthers have won the past 4 straight. My God, wow. Now, these two have played already this year. The Panthers won by 1 point from a Nathan Cleary field goal, 16 points to 15. After the Knights got their own field goal, and then Panthers went for one to win the game. Last time the Knights beat the Panthers, like I said in my other tip between these two early in the year, was last time they won was back in 2018, where Newcastle won 20 points to 12 against Panthers, and that was at Penrith Stadium as well. Well, for this game, even though with Origin players out for Panthers, I'll still back Penrith to win. It's back at home. They very rarely lose at home these days. I'll go Panthers to win 1-12. I'll go Panthers to win by 10. Scoreline 30 points to 20. And the final Saturday fixture, kicking off at 7:35 p.m. down there in Melbourne, is between the Melbourne Storm and the Manly Warringah Sea Eagles rivalry game at Amy Park. Now, Manly are coming off a disappointing and thrashing loss to the Parramatta Eels, losing 34 points to 4. And as for Melbourne, they are coming off a win over the West Tigers. I believe the score was 28 points to 12. Sorry, my apologies. It was 28 points to 6. They're up there in Campbelltown last week against the West Tigers. Now, Manly have got Cherry Evans and Turbo out. For Origin, they probably will back up this week most likely. And as for Melbourne, they've got Munster and Xavier Coates for Origin. They're probably expected to back up as well. But like I said, we'll wait and see. The past 10 games between these two, Melbourne have won 7 of the past 10 against Manly, which includes winning 6 straight. But Manly have won the last 2 games against Melbourne, 36 points to 30 last year, and in their first clash earlier in the year, 18 points to 8. Now, this game is a not really a flip of a coin, but these two can't really stand each other from the Battle of Brookie all those many years ago and all that. Still happens on and off the field as well. But for this game, I will back after Manly's disappointing loss. They expected to bounce back, but I will tip Melbourne to win this game. I'll go Melbourne to win 1-12. I'll go Melbourne to win by 6. I think this will be another high-scoring game. I'm gonna go 34-28. Now on to the Sunday fixtures. The first one kicking off at 2 p.m. It's a southeastern Queensland derby between the Brisbane Broncos and the Gold Coast Shitsters, Chokers, Titans, whatever you want to call them, at Suncorp Stadium. An afternoon Queensland derby. Why not? Now, both these teams have had the bye last week. Titans have had their 3 byes now, so they're the first team this year to complete all their 3 byes, so they're going to struggle for the rest of the season if they don't win. And as for the Broncos, they have their first bye last week of the season as well. But before that, the Broncos went on to almost lose to the Knights, but luckily Broncos managed to just beat the Knights in the dying stages back in round 15, 24 points to 20. And as for the Titans, they went on to beat the West Tigers in a boring game on a Thursday night back in round 15, 28 points to 12. Now, in the past 10 games between these two Queensland teams, Broncos have won 6 of the past 10 fixtures, which includes winning 4 of the past 5 and 4 straight. So Titans have not beaten the Broncos since 2021. Titans have not beaten the Broncos since 2021, sorry, if I didn't say that properly. And yeah, so this will be a one-sided game. I'll back the Broncos. They expect to have all their Origin stars back as well. I will go Broncos to win 13 plus. I'll go Broncos to win by 20 with a scoreline of 30 points to 10. The second Sunday fixture, it is between my boys, the South Sydney Rabbitohs, and the North Queensland Cowboys, kicking off at 4 p.m. or 4:05 p.m. at Accor Stadium in Sydney. I will be attending this game, so this will be my first Rabbitohs game since round 13 against the Raiders. I will be attending. Now, but we finally had our first bye last week of the season. Unfortunately, the week before, we lost to the Dragons, but an excellent comeback against the Dragons. We almost pulled it off. If Blake Taft had converted those 3 missed goals, we probably could have tied the game. But nonetheless, it was an excellent Saturday afternoon fixture against the Dragons, 36-30. And as for the Cowboys, they are coming off an entertaining win over the Panthers in Townsville last week, with both teams having Origin players out. 27 points to 23. Game of the round last week. Excellent game. Now, I'm not sure if everyone will back up from Origin. I'm hoping Latrell is. I think he'll be back for this week. I'm not 100% sure. Murray, I don't think he will back up. I don't even think he's 100% for Origin Game 2, but that's just me. And as for the other players, Burgess, David Malawi, I think Malawi will be back as well. Burgess, I think as well. Jai Arrow is still a little bit away, but we should have our full squad back in the next couple of weeks. And as for the Cowboys, they should expect all their Origin players to be back as well. In the past 10 games between these two, Bunnies have won 7 of the past 10 games, which includes winning 7 straight. So the Cowboys have not beaten us since 2017, where they beat us 23 points to 10. And the sad thing is, even though I love the Bunnies playing the Cowboys at Accor Stadium, we have not played in Townsville against them since 2020. I mean, what the hell? I think we've only had 2 games at Queensland Country Bank Stadium. One against the Cowboys, where we won 31-30, and I think the other one was against the Penrith Panthers, the preliminary final. Not preliminary final, the qualifying final, sorry, where we won 16 points to 10. Why can't we play at Queensland Country Bank Stadium? Yeah, it means I miss out on a game to go to, but we haven't played up there in years. We should take a game up there as well. I know we got a game in Cairns against the Dragons at Ballard Park, but that's in Cairns, not Townsville. But that's just me. This will be a great game. I'll be attending this game, like I said, 4 o'clock game, my first Sunday game other than the Roosters Bulldogs game. This will be a great game. It's a tough one to tip, even though I'm not confident with us winning. I'll back my boys to win, obviously 1-12. I'm going to go the Bunnies to win by. I'm going to go 8 points. I will go 22-14 scoreline. And the final game to wrap up round 17 of the NRL is between the Sydney Roosters and the Canberra Raiders at Allianz Stadium, kicking off at 6:15 p.m. Raiders had their second bye last week, and then coming up in the week before that, they come off a huge loss against the Warriors, losing 36-14 in Jared Croker's 300 game. Unbelievable. A terrible performance. And as for the Roosters, they're coming over a 2-point gutsy win over the Knights up there in Newcastle last week, winning 18 points to 16. And wasn't very convincing, but it seems like Luke Keary has injured his jaw, and he may not be playing for a couple of weeks. We'll wait and see what happens. But in the past 10 games between these two clubs, Roosters have won 6 of the past 10, which includes winning 3 of the past 5 games. Now, this will be the first time the Raiders will go at the brand new Allianz Stadium, but this is the first time these two have played at Allianz Stadium since 2015, or Sydney Football Stadium, whatever you want to call it. Last time the Raiders won there was back in 2011, where the Raiders beat the Roosters 38 points to 12. Wow, it's been 12 years since they won at Sydney Football Stadium now. And as who I'm going to see winning this game, this one is probably the hardest tip to pick. I mean, Roosters' win wasn't convincing, but also the Raiders coming off a bye, and they were flogged the week before against the Warriors. This one's really tough, but I'm going to take the risk. I know the Roosters, they lost to the Roosters at Allianz 2 weeks ago, but I'm going to take the risk. I'm taking the Raiders to win 1-12. I'm going the Raiders to win by 4 points. Scoreline 18-14. And ladies and gentlemen, that concludes my round 17 NRL tipping video, along with my game 2 prediction and tip. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel if you are new around here, and don't miss out on any other videos like this one. Now, also guys, just letting you know, today is June 19th as of this recording. I have officially been on YouTube for 3 years, or unless you want to count from 2020 to 21 as 1 year, I don't count as that way. So this is my 3rd year as a YouTuber, but rugby league YouTuber from 2021. So just want to say thank you all so much who have stick around, subscribed, and who have watched my videos. Once again guys, thank you all very much. I'm glad we reached 1,000 subscribers a couple of weeks ago, and I hope this channel continues to grow towards the future. Anyways everyone, thanks again for watching, and I'll see you all in the next video. #Titans losers.